This is Akashvani. Time for a weekly program, Our Guest. I hand over the mic to the show host, Nitish Arora, for the same.
I'm sharing an SMS message which came a few days ago and I read it out for you. A 23-year-old engineer in Pune walked out of a meeting, said he had a chest pain. Minutes later, he jumped from the 7th floor. He left a message for his father, apologizing, saying he did not feel worthy of being his son. Worthy, a word that breaks you in silence. That line, it cuts deep. Let's not reduce this to mental health awareness. This isn't a post, this is a scream. Yes, this is a scream. And that happens to be the topic of our guest today. And that topic is on survival skills. This is a stark reality which we all are facing. Vandana Saxena, a counselor, a transformational coach. Welcome to our studios, Vandana ji.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here today.
The first question that I asked you off mic, and now I'm putting it on mic also. Where have we gone wrong with raising the youngsters?
I think one thing that I have realized, and I also corrected along the way as I became a parent, there is always a difference between a provider and a parent. A parent should not only be provider, availing or giving every possible facility to the child. A parent has to be emotionally available. There has to be time to sit and talk. There has to be time to listen to the child. There may not be everything which is very important to listen, but the point is an honest ear brings up an emotionally robust and strong child. And which is where I feel that we hardly have any time with the children to sit and talk about nothing. I mean, we are busy taking them to classes, we are busy planning their careers, we are busy planning everything in life, but we hardly have any time left to sit and talk with them.
On the contrary, the parents also complain that the children don't have time to talk to them. They are rather busy on the social circle, which is not in physical presence, also only on mobile, and in a space which perhaps is utopia, does never exist, is not there, but still they have lots of friends to talk to. So this is a complaint that comes from parents also.
I do agree, but what is the age that a child get accustomed to the phone? I have seen parents that the child will not eat unless we give them the phone. So now the point is, because we do not have that patience to sit with the child, take the tantrums and make them eat, we find the easier option. Give them the phone and they'll eat. The child also doesn't realize if they are full or not full. They're just eating because they're distracted. So that kind of distraction we are giving as early as maybe 2 or 3 years old child, which is not a wise thing to do. So the wise thing is to be a little patient. There may be other ways to feed the child. Why do we choose the phone? And then we complain that the child is addicted to phone. So that is where we go wrong.
Which means we need to educate the parents or the children.
It's not about education. The parent knows the phone is not healthy for the child. Child obviously doesn't know. But we need to create that balance, that how much time do I have? Obviously, all of us have 24 hours. We have to manage parenting in that only. If we are working, we have anyway less time. So definitely parenting would have less time. We are career people. We have to build our careers. Our biological clocks and our career clocks are in complete contradiction with each other. When we become parents, that's the right time for us to take our careers off, take off our careers and put it on the rocket mode or something like that. But then that is the time when the child needs us the most. So we need to balance. And how do we balance? We can define the task. Like there are few tasks that can be outsourced. The regular household chores, I can household maybe the driving part of it. I can household a few.
But not the parenting.
But not the parenting. That should not be outsourced. I do not want to cook, but I want to sit with my child and want my child to eat without a phone. Have that patience.
The youngsters taking to suicide as an escape route is a news which is very distressing, which comes very often these days. Now, what are the kind of survival skills that as a parents or as a school or as a university we need to give to the youngsters?
The first and most important rule that I think a child should know right from the beginning, there is nothing called perfect. There is no perfect student, there is no perfect son, there is no perfect daughter, there is no perfect teacher. You see, the moon doesn't have a perfect size, the sun doesn't have a perfect color, the leaves of the tree are not perfect. It's absolutely fine to live and embrace the imperfections. I may not be good at one subject, I may not be doing what exactly my parents or teachers are expecting me to do. But the point is that I should be doing what I want to do. That is giving up that that is the difficult part. Giving up that perfection, the expectation to be perfect is something that is very, very important so that we are off the pressures.
So, which means either the system or the parents is burdening them with results. Bring us the results. Every parent wants that the child should be number one, but there can be only one person at the top. Then again, you want your children to be all-rounder. I mean, you want them to excel in painting, you want them to excel in dancing, acting, and all those things. Are these extra pressures, or they are also part of the personality development? We cannot say that they should not be performing in various fields. I mean, they need to have an overall holistic personality.
Absolutely right. But that is about exploring the interests. My father taught me this. There is always a difference between what you want to do and what you can do. I may be good at something, but do I really want to do it? Exploring the interest, even when I was parenting, when my daughter was young, I put her into different classes. I put her into painting class. I put her into music class. I was just exploring the interest. But I realized not everything is meant for her. She can't be excelling in everything. It is okay to be the jack of all trades. If required, you can make your project reports. If you know good creative skills, it's good. If required, you can replace a playback piano player, if that is it. But is that your interest? Do you really want to pursue it? It is something that we need to draw a line between what a child can do and what the child wants to do.
What milestone are we as a society standing right now? Are we moving in the right direction? Where are the corrective measures need to be taken? Is it at a school level? Is it at a home domestic level? Or is it at an office level? As you said, that parents are also, when they have a child nowadays, their career are also on a rocket mode. The career also needs time. So if the office space also needs to do some corrective measures when they find that, because these are really very distressing times when you hear such kind of news.
So, what happens is, one thing that I have already said and I am reiterating, that, rather than being just a parent, be emotionally available. We as human beings are emotional people. We need to express our emotions at the first place. So what we are going wrong as parents, suppose a child is cry. We said, no, don't cry. The child is yelling. No, don't yell. Now, by the time child grows up, he doesn't know how to express. If the child is yelling, it is just an expression of emotion. We can tell that there is some kind of displeasure. But forbidding children to express their emotions, not understanding them, will create a pile-up within their own minds, within their own souls. Now, when this pile-up is burdening them, that is what we call stress. When this pile-up is burdening them, they find the escape routes. So why do we let these pile-ups to happen? Why can't we just be available to them to vent a few times? All of us at any given stage of time, all of us want to vent. Just vent. It's okay to vent. It is absolutely fine. It is okay to talk about how many things have upset you. It is okay to talk about what is not going right. It is absolutely okay to talk that.
So what is the mantra to somebody who is actually in distress as a child, as you said, that he needs to vent up the pressure, whatever is there, and there is no shoulder to cry on. The parents are not available. Anybody who is actually on the verge of taking away his or her life, what can stop him? What is a particular thing that you want to tell anybody who is listening, why living is more important than letting it go?
So the most important mantra is the times are never the same. There are good times, there are better times, there are best times. There are good times, there are bad times, and there are worst times. Worst never stays always. Best never stays always. It's a cycle. So the mantra is that you need to be a little patient to wait for the good time ahead. This too shall pass. Secondly, the most important part is no one else is responsible for your happiness. No one else. Neither your school, nor your siblings, even if you are married, you cannot hold your partner to be responsible for your happiness. If you want to be happy, you have to find your own ways. You have to find what makes you feel happy. If you feel that what you are doing is not making you feel happy, maybe you can start again. It's never too late to begin what you might have been. It's absolutely fine.
But that is something which they are displaying so often. And if there is something is served in the restaurant to them, they will first click the photograph and tell the world that I am very happy. Are they actually happy? Do they know the meaning of happiness?
Point is that we have forgotten to draw a line between the real world and the surreal world. We have learned to live in the surreal world, or we are pushing ourselves to the surreal world.
We are rather slipped into the
surreal world. What we see, I am not saying that social media is a bad thing, but definitely it is an integral.
Like always seeking an approval from somebody.
Exactly.
Oh, this is what I am doing. How is it good? I mean, how many thumbs up have come? Oh, if the count is above 100, oh, I am successful. Is that a success, measure of success? No. Why do you want approval? Why are you seeking approval from others?
Yeah, so that is one point of validation. Why do we need validation? So it happens from the young age. We do something and we go to our parents and say that, is it good or bad? They're like, no, bacha, this is very good. And if it is not good, what have you done? At times I have seen that, the parents would scold, no, this is what you have done wrong. But they never say why it is wrong. What are the consequences? Because right and wrong is subjective. No, there is no rule book for anybody that this is the right, this is the wrong. So what I have done, it might be right for me and it may be...
And there are parents who will always find wrong in everything.
In everything. So instead of contradicting or saying that, oh, you are wrong, telling them the consequences of it would help them develop a decision-making ability. And that is how they would learn the survival skills. Because when you decide on your own, you are ready and you prepare. So that is one more mantra that I would like to give. Whenever you are preparing for something, it is imperative that you prepare for the worst. That this is the worst case scenario. If I am prepared for this, I can sail it through.
You as a counselor, when you visit to some universities, some colleges or some schools, what are the kind of questions that come from the students, from the youngsters? Or what are the most pressing things that come to you?
The most pressing thing that comes to me is, I did not want to do this. My parents wanted me to do this.
Oh.
And this is a common question. What do I do, ma'am, now? It's like, it's okay. Do something else. It's fine. It is just the beginning of your career, not the whole thing. You can still... What will I tell my parents? I said, make your parents speak to me.
But then there are cases when a student, if they take something of their own choice, choices are to be made as early as in 11th standard. And those choices go wrong, and they then grow up and blame the parents. I was good in academics. If you had forced some choice on me, I would have excelled in that also. You left it on me.
It's never told me. You left it on me. That also happens at times. Yes. I tell you what. So there is a famous makeup artist by the name of Parul Garg. Every girl these days wants to be a Parul Garg bride. She's a lawyer by profession. Right? So she did LLB and then she thought, no, this is my passion. It's not something about, I have done law. I would not be able to pursue my dreams. The question remains, do you really want to pursue law? You are in BTech. Do you really want to pursue BTech, or you have your different choice? That's important. So having said that, it is imperative for both parents and the child. This is what I have done. I can do this, but this is not something that I want to do. So do I make a shift? Do I make a change? So that's important. And what are the ways out?
Anything more that you want to add to while we say adieu to our listeners?
One important tip that made me survive. I'll tell you a little bit of my story. My report cards were never flashy. My cousins and I, we appeared for the 10th grade exam together. She scored 98 out of 100 and 98%, and I scored 58%. For me, that was 98% because I attempted the papers on 60 marks only. And out of 60, I'm getting 58. That's 90%, 98% marks for me. One thing that I have sworn by all my life, that remain open to learning and remain open to change. If you adapt to the changes and you begin learning, that's the best hack to survive against all odds.
Remain open to learning, remain open to change. I think that has emerged as the mantra of success, and we were talking about on survival skill. I think this is the biggest survival skill. Those who do not change end up losing. So that is very important. Vandana ji, you spared your time to counsel us and through us, our listeners. Thank you so very much for being our guest.
You were listening to the weekly program, Our Guest, that is broadcast every Monday at 9:15 a.m. Have a nice day.